Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy, doing a video response to the young woman whose name I don't recall at Kittens, Weights, and Tarot. And she had done a video about her mugs. Coffee mug, tea mug, whatever. I don't drink coffee, so it's all tea. And she also was wanting us to share our teas. And I only have so much room here. I have a lot of mugs. In fact, I don't have all of my mugs here because, or cups, because I have like a really standard set of cups and saucers that came with, you know, a dinnerware set, and you'll see those in my videos on occasion when I want just a, you know, a smaller amount of tea. It's usually, you will see those smaller mugs when I'm having actual tea as opposed to herb tea. But we'll talk a little bit about that later. So, well, no, I'll say it right now. Most of the tea that I drink is actually herb teas. And I'm not a connoisseur of tea particularly. I drink it for health purposes. For health purposes, as many people probably know if you've been on my channel for any length of time, I have Lyme disease, and so my immune system tends to be kind of embattled in general, and I'm often taking antibiotics or something to to help control it, and that acidifies your body, which does, which inhibits your immune response and makes you more likely to catch the things that are going around. And I work with students, so things come around through the students that I'm exposed to. So I am often resorting to my throat coat. I'm sorry, I have, well, let me turn that around just for this, so you're going to have a funny switcheroo that's going to happen here. There you go. So that this is readable. It becomes problematic for me in terms of how I move things, but we're not going to be doing that much. It's not like a card reading. So now you can read that's not backwards. So throat coat, I think this is probably well known to many people. Also echinacea, which I guess I didn't bring it in here. Echinacea tea, which I hadn't had for a long time, but was really feeling the need for it. And I don't know if I ran into it in an herb store or if they happened to be carrying it at the drugstore, but the last time I looked for more of it at the drugstore, or not the drugstore, the grocery store, they didn't have it. And so I went out of my way to go to the herb shop, and they also didn't, well, they were closed. They were closed. So there you go. But my go-to for a long time, either raspberry zinger, I don't know, they've got the blueberry is really my favorite of the Celestial Seasonings herb teas. And all I'm looking for in herb tea, really, of this kind, with the throat coat, I'm looking for slippery elm, which it doesn't even have in it anymore. It just has licorice. But what I really want is slippery elm. And so I don't know why, and I've been checking some herb teas, and it used to be in, I think it was in throat coat and Gypsy Cold Care, which I haven't seen Gypsy Cold Care in a long time. I don't know if they're continuing to do it. I think they must, because I checked Amazon and I looked at the ingredients and it didn't have slippery elm. So I'm wondering if there's something wrong with procuring slippery elm these days. At any rate, what I'm primarily looking for is rose hips. A rose hip tea, because rose hips are very high in vitamin C, and so they're great for the immune system. And these celestial seasonings, almost all of them that are fruity like this, first ingredient is hibiscus, second is rose hips. So that's my go-to when I start to feel a little punky, or even before I start to feel a little punky. I will start to tank on the rosehip type tea or echinacea tea. So those are the teas I usually have. I even have somewhere, I have actually, and this was for digestive issues, I have a whole big bag of licorice. And not the candy, the plant licorice that I bought in bulk from an herb store, I think up in Tennessee. And my mother at different times, she's a tea lover, although for the most part right now she only does or usually just has Lipton tea, but she's been a tea aficionado for a long time. And she has some things that are alkalizing teas, and alkalizing teas usually taste horrible. And so she had me try one recently, and I thought it was this. I got this online, and it wasn't this. Or, at any rate, this tea, when I drank it, made me think. I've read travelogue type things of people who live in, Nepal and Asia, in the mountainous areas of Asia there, and they talk about having milk or cream in your tea. This tea needs to be cut with something. This tea is, when I first drank it, I thought, this is the tea they must be talking about, where they need to put something in it to cut it. And I'm not talking water, it needs to be something else. And it's not that it tastes bad, it just tastes kind of earthy and dense, at any rate. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that tea. It says this pu'er. Pu'er is a tea that undergoes a period of aging. So it's actual tea, like the plant of tea. It is the most complex of Chinese teas. Okay. In any case. Oh, it even says earthy taste here. A strong, full, earthy taste. There, that's accurate. But anyway, so there's that. Other medicinal teas. This I've only sipped once. I actually got it. This Ojibwe Tea of Life is supposed to be based on a tea that was used by a nurse in Canada while treating cancer patients. And this has slippery elm. And I got this when my dog was fighting cancer. I was trying everything to help her at least slow it down, and this is one of the things. And I sipped it a little bit just to make sure it wasn't one of those awful tasting alkalizing type teas. And it's fine. I haven't been using it, but I should. There's no reason not to, actually. So I've still got quite a bit in here. I could be having my Ojibwe Tea of Life. So there we go. It's a healing tea. It's definitely intended to be a healing tea. And then I have this bag of chamomile sticks. And I have another bag similar to this. It probably has about the same amount that is chamomile blossoms. And I think this was given to me by a student, and I don't know what moved her to give me chamomile. But at any rate, she gave me some chamomile tea. And I love the flavor of chamomile tea, but just because it's twiggy and stuff, not easily even put in a little diffuser thing. I just don't do it very often. And for a long time, I didn't have good tea balls, as I call them, and now I do, and so I have less excuse to not play with my teas. So 2 more. My brother, in was it this Christmas? I think it was the Christmas before, and I will show it to you. He bought me and my sister and my parents teapots, iron teapots, and again I will show them to you when I'm cleared the deck here. And so he's getting into teas, and when he got me the teapot, he got me this tea lyra, I'm not sure, the galaxy of teas. This is jasmine tea, and I love jasmine tea. He didn't know that at the time, but it's jasmine tea. Do you see these little, they're like little pellets, and they call them like dragon pearls. Yes, it's imperial jasmine dragon pearls. But I first became acquainted with, and these, when you put them in water, they unfold into the leaves. So they're very cool. And it only takes like 3 for just a cup. That's even pretty strong if you let it steep for a while. And I was first introduced to jasmine tea by a Korean roommate many years ago, and she had brought some with her from Korea, and I loved it. And this is not that same tea, but I really do like jasmine tea. I would say this is maybe not quite as good, but it's still quite good. And then my brother recently got me golden monkey black tea. This to me is pleasantly strong. It's not very strong, but it's pleasantly strong tea. Flavorful and nice, but I can't have regular tea leaf tea. Green tea to some extent, but even that I can't have regularly. It triggers acid in my stomach, and it just makes my system generally acidic. We may have some cat drama momentarily. There is cat drama building. All right, we'll see. If there's a freak out in a minute, you'll know what it is. You've been warned. There will at least be hissing. I predict hissing without the use of any cards. You'll be actually quite surprised if there is no ambush and no hissing. Alright, so now we're down to the mugs. I think we're down to the mugs. And what I have in front here are mugs I had when I was a kid, gotten for me when I was a child. So we have, and his nose is rubbed off and it's chipped around the rim. This is a gnome mug, and I don't know if anybody remembers. I don't even know who did the art for the gnome books, big coffee table type gnome books. I had at least 1, if not 2 of those. So there, I still have my gnome mug. So these are sentimental. Unicorn mug. I think this is the last unicorn thing that I actually have. I don't think I have any of my other unicorn collectible type stuff. I've become so practical. This is the only thing. And even this I sometimes think of, I should probably give this to some little girl somewhere. But it just doesn't look that clean on the inside anymore because it's been used so much. This I almost never use because the lip is a little bit weird. But it's my only horsey mug, and I got the horsey mug a long time ago, and so I just can't quite let it go, This is my old writer self, and I did write English style writing. And this also, to me, this should be a collectible of some kind. It's Equus magazine. I don't know if anybody is very into horses, but I was on the ground for the beginning of Equus magazine, and had like the first 5 years of that magazine. I had Equus, and so this is an Equus mug from specifically the magazine Equus. So it's probably one of their first mugs that they issued, but of course they don't keep track of it particularly. It's just an advertising ploy, you know. So let me put this back here. And then we just have things that I've gotten throughout my life, and usually they're given to me. There's only one mug here that I bought for myself. The ones that I just talked about were all given to me by my parents. This Wisconsin mug, which is beautiful, you know, it's got deer on there. I love the winter scene. It's this deep blue, which is wonderful. This was a roommate of mine one time went up to Wisconsin, and I have no idea why she felt that she needed to get me a mug and bring it back to me. Maybe I was watching her dog or something, but it was no big deal. You know, I had my own dog, etc. In any case, Karen got me this many years ago, and I've kept it mainly because I love the color. I love the colors. Again, Mother strikes again. We have the Scottish thistle, and dogs, Celtic dogs, another flower. I'm not sure what that would be, if it's supposed to be a rose of some kind. In any case, my mother took a trip to Scotland, and she is half Scottish. I believe my grandmother, her mother, was a full-blooded Scot. And so she was in Scotland, we don't have any connections there particularly, I think she was doing some genealogy research. But in any case, she got me and probably my brother and sister as well, a mug while in Scotland. And she also got us a tartan, so other various things. And then I don't remember where she got this, why she got this. It says made in China. But this is, I know I'm going to forget her, Jody Bergsma's art, frog mug. I'll take her art anytime. Love Jody Bergsma's art. Oh, it doesn't want to focus, but it's essentially the same picture. And this is a big mug, so when I feel like I need a lot, oh, and there it says Bergsma, Froggy World. And somewhere along the line, my mother also got me this books, because of course I'm bookish. And this one's chipped as well. And then I have an ancestral cup. It's really not a mug, it's more of a cup, teacup. And I believe I have 4 of these. And these were given to me by my mother, telling me that they belonged to her mother, and she thinks possibly to her grandmother, which would be my great-grandmother, who I have no memory of. So yes, I have ancestral cups. I have ancestral cups, ancestral mugs. And again, you know, I'm inclined to keep them just because they're this really nice dark blue color, which maybe that's my ancestral color, because I do feel very connected to that kind of very dark blue. Since I was a child, and I always thought it would be cool to have a room that was even darker blue than, it's closer maybe to this blue, like a midnight blue, almost black blue. To have a room, maybe someday I'll still do this, have a room that's just painted completely in that color. So, the kitty confrontation I was expecting actually did not occur. But another one might occur now. The naughty kitty, the tomcat who came in the house, has started to mellow. And I am so grateful. It's taken like 2 months. They said it would take 4 to 6 weeks for the hormones to kind of get out of his system. But it's taken more like 2 months. But over the last week, he's finally started to mellow. And it's, thank goodness. Anyway. So those, and I got the ancestral mug. We got all of those. The last one is the only mug that I have bought for myself. And it's a poppy mug. And I just found this at a thrift store. Nice black interior. And poppies in honor of George O'Keeffe. Although these are certainly not, these are more like Art Nouveau poppies. But at one time I had a huge print of her, one of her poppy paintings. And I don't even remember how I came across it, but the poppies. I thought, yeah, I gotta get the poppies. Gotta get the poppies, my George O'Keeffe type poppies, memory of poppies. And I do like poppies in general. No, not the opium, just poppies. The flowers, even their foliage, I like the silvery, prickly looking foliage I like. So, can't grow them down here in Alabama, unfortunately. Maybe some people can, I sure can't. Alright, so I'm clearing off some space here to bring down, which I almost forgot, the little iron teapot. This thing is heavy. You can hear it. So, you know, you put your hot water in here, you pour it in, and there's this tea basket here. Put your tea in. There's even a trivet that I didn't bring out, so you can set it on the trivet because it being iron, when you put the hot water in here, it's very hot. The pot itself becomes very hot. It's enameled on the inside. And this has like a bamboo print on it. And it comes with these little cups. So this is a little, so here's one of the mugs. So this is a little pot that holds, I don't know, I think you can get about 4 or so of these little cups. Maybe more than that out of this pot. I think it holds more than it would appear to hold, really. But the unfortunate thing is that even though he got me a little, at least it looks little, again, it holds more than you might think, a little pot, it's just me. And of real tea, of course I can put my herb teas in here too, but I haven't, you know, since he gave it to me with real teas, I've been using it for the jasmine and the golden monkey, and it's like, well, I need to stop doing that because I can't, you know, this cup, this is about how much I can drink of one of those teas. And I actually feel the caffeine because I am so non-caffeinated in my everyday life that just regular old tea, I feel a boost from it. But it also makes me acidic. So if I were to even put it in the fridge and then have it regularly for a few days, it just makes my system too acidic, and I start to have problems coming down with things. So I need to shift my thinking and think about putting some of the herb tea in here, whether it's even a bagged herb tea or the chamomile or the Ojibwa tea of life, which I would have to put like in some kind of cloth or something because it's ground up so that it's powdery. But anyway, that's the state of my tea. The state of my tea and what I drink my tea out of. So there you go. You see them on occasion, these mugs on my table here, but most of the time I put them away from the table. obviously, because I don't want something to be spilled and get on the cards. So a lot of times whatever I'm sipping out of, I have out of sight. But there it is. The state of my tea. I'm not a coffee drinker. All right, I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm forgetting, but it's not critical. Not critical if I do. So take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.